Unlimited Possibilities presents Creating Your Seat at the Table with your host, Ashley Little, as she welcomes her guest to the table.
Welcome to Creating Your Seat at the Table. I am your host, Ashley Little. A little bit about myself: corporate professional by day, entrepreneur by night, four-time best-selling author, CEO and founder of Ashley Little Enterprises, LLC, owner and creator of Creative Broadcasting, and co-founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLP. Tonight we have an amazing special VIP guest, Linda Arrey. A little bit about her. Ms. Linda Arrey is a nonprofit consultant, published author, and international speaker. After dedicating several years as a certified life coach, helping women all over the world find clarity, overcoming personal and professional roadblocks, and equipping them with strategies to live a fulfilling lifestyle, she wrote her first book, Memoirs of a Working Mother, a self-help tool for women to thrive at home and work. After serving in the nonprofit sector in various capacities for several years, she created her signature program, the Nonprofit Institute, a premier program for potential nonprofit entrepreneurs to transform their vision into compliant, sustainable, and impactful 501c3 nonprofit organizations in just 8 weeks, even if they have zero experience. She is the Chief Executive Officer of Women in Leadership Development and Empowerment, Inc., a professional women's charity serving women and children in U.S. and undeserved communities. As an active duty captain in the United States Air Force Medical Service Corps, she serves as a Chief Information Officer. She is also the president of the Cameroon American Military Professionals Organization, a 501c3 charity providing mentoring, leadership, and support services to Cameroon Americans serving in the U.S. military and their families. She enjoys the beach, traveling, and spending quality time with her husband and children. Welcome to the table, Linda Arrey.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You are welcome. I'm honored and humbled to have you at the table, excited about all the wisdom and knowledge that I know you're going to share with my listeners tonight.
Awesome, let's do it.
So tell us more about your amazing entrepreneur journey.
Oh, wow, where do I start? So, yeah, sometimes it's like, what was that starting point? You know,
right.
I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I started my first business at age of 21, and, you know, later on realized my nonprofit desire really was, or my entrepreneurship desire was really in the nonprofit sector. And this started really through doing pageants. Yeah. I was in the pageant industry. I competed in pageants. I managed pageants. Now I actually consult for pageants. But I was competing in the Miss Africa USA pageant. And I realized a lot of the women that were competing really didn't have that support system or that desire to really be my sister's keeper. It was more bickering and how can I backstab the other woman to get to the crown. And my mindset was, at the end of the day, only one person is going to wear that crown. But we cannot take away from the fact that we all as women have invisible crowns that we can put on every day. And we should support whether it's your winning season or your losing season, because cumulatively we are stronger and we cannot win. So with that, you know, I really wanted women to understand the essence of winning with, you know, such humility. And even when you lose, you still have your dignity. So what exactly does that mean? So I really started up by bringing women together and say, how can we be my sister's keeper? And that's when we started Women in Leadership Development and Empowerment. To me, it was a platform for women to come together and really just bring our skill set and be supportive rather than bringing each other down. And really through that, I branched out into not just creating a community of women and a support system, to seeing that I really had a desire to mentor and coach women. So I decided to go get my certification as a life coach.
I love that.
You know,
and you're right. We're so much better together, right, than we are apart.
Absolutely.
And the power of collaboration and connecting is real. So it's just we have to embrace that as women, like you said, and not be the person that wants it all to themselves, right? So that's so important.
Yeah.
So
and
you're passionate.
Really...
Go ahead.
No, and we have to understand, though, when you support somebody in their winning season, guess what? They turn out and send a helping hand to you in your losing season, and your losing season immediately starts transitioning to your winning season. So we have to understand life is seasonal. But just because we're not the one shining right now doesn't mean we cannot support the woman that's shining.
That's right. That's right. Because you don't know what type of, lessons and what type of storms they had to go through for their winning season, right? So that's why we have to embrace and be happy for everybody. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, Linda, you are passionate about helping women find clarity, overcoming personal and professional roadblocks, and equipping them with strategies to live a fulfilling lifestyle. So tell us more about your passion.
As I said, I really for me, why can't we all be happy? And my message is about fulfillment. I believe in life, whether you're chasing money, the next job, the next, paycheck, whether you're chasing relationships, whatever we are all seeking is fulfillment. We just have different journeys on getting through it. So my passion is really helping women find what their definition of fulfillment is. And what I've realized, a lot of the women that I work with really don't understand what is it that they want in life. So we start by unblocking that. True strategic questions and just exercises and some strategies we're able to uncover. I call it the release. We're able to uncover what is it that they want in life. Because if you don't even know what is it that you want, it's almost impossible to get to where you're supposed to be or where you're destined to be. So finding clarity is such a pivotal point, and it's so important to me to make sure that the women that I work with actually understand what they want in life. And we're leaving a world of social media where it brings a lot of confusion. You see somebody today, they're a life coach. Tomorrow they're a writer. The next day they're a blogger. And just confusion, because when you scroll and you see this person doing something and you immediately think, oh, my God, because I am not flourishing in my season, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm in the wrong place. And, so finding clarity really blindfolds all of those distractions of social media or the naysayers or the people that you're waiting for them to support you before you move, because you are clear about your vision and your purpose. So once we find clarity, we then come up with executable strategies on how to actually get to that destination. And not just the destination, but how do we navigate the journey to get to your place of fulfillment? Because at the end of the day, you need to know what you want to be able to figure out how to get there. So my passion, while I really strive on helping women find fulfillment in life, I am so passionate about unveiling, releasing and then refueling back into the women so they not only know who they are and what they want, but they also have the tools and strategies to get to where they are destined to be.
That's so important, right? Because a lot of people compare themselves on social media, like you said, to somebody else's chapter 20. They're supporting their support system, waiting on people to support you before you do something. That's so important. You have to encourage yourself, right? And understand that God will send you the right people to support you, right? And most of the time, it's going to be strangers, right? So what are your thoughts on that? Because I think a lot of people get discouraged with their friends or their family don't support.
The amount of posts that I see where people say, oh, if I were to say I just got a promotion, people would support me. Now I started my business, nobody's supporting me, and I'm like, who cares? People will support what they want to support, but it doesn't stop you from believing in yourself and keep going. Why are you tripping over some likes on Facebook?
That's right.
And the biggest supporter you can have is yourself. And that's why we really need that mindset shift to change that trajectory and saying that I don't need ABYC to be on my team before I move. And it goes back to finding that clarity. Because when you know who you are and whose you are, because I believe in that divine authority. You know, I know who I am, and I know whose I am. I know I'm a child of God, and I know He got my back. Now that I have that clear vision of who I am moving and trusting in God to direct my path because I know He got me, even if I got one like on this post. But I know He got me. The thing is, we live in the superficial world where people think the most successful people are the people that have all the likes on Facebook. And no. There are people buying likes on social media. There are people living a fallacy on social media. And you need that clarity and to know where you are destined to be. So all that distraction of who is supporting you and who is not supporting you doesn't matter. And as you said, that's true. A lot of times when you launch a new product, you write a new book. You know, it's not your relatives and BFFs that are supporting you. It's the people that actually just came across you. And that's why instead of focusing on who is not supporting you, focus on your messaging, your packaging, your branding, and your marketing. Because when you have all those four aspects together and present that product in front of a consumer, they're buying, they're liking, and they're moving you a step forward. And one thing I always say is we as humans spend a lot of time focusing on the things that are not working in life. Like I got 20 problems. But guess what? You have 80 things that are working well. So we need to learn to stop focusing on our problems and start focusing our energy on all the promises that God has in our lives. Because there's so many promises that we stay distracted because we're worried about those two things that are not working. And you think your life is so bad until you hear somebody's story.
That's real. I love that. I just love how you delivered that because that's so important that, that you focus on yourself, focus on your brand, focus on that. And like you said, you build it, they will come. So I love that. So tell listeners more about your book, Memoirs of a Working Mother. So tell us more about that and how we can purchase and support your book.
Yeah, so Memoirs of a Working Mother, I really, that book to me, it's beyond a book. It's a ministry for me because I really poured my heart in that book. When I started, it didn't start out as a book. It started out as a journal. My first pregnancy, I went through a very complicated pregnancy, and at 5 months, I was put on bed rest. I had severe case of uterine fibroid, and it was so severe I couldn't even walk. That's the amount of pain I was feeling. I was semi-bedridden because I needed somebody to pick me up from the couch to the bathroom and back and, stuff like that. But it did not last throughout my pregnancy. It was intermittent. And so at 5 months, my doctor put me on bed rest because they said, if you're on your feet, gravity is making it worse and all of that stuff. And I almost lost my mind because I'm that person that's always on the go. And I'm like, my office is going to shut down. This is going, no, I need a computer at home. I need this. So I got a computer. I actually brought a computer home, and I was working from home. And one day, my boss came to my home and said, I'm taking that computer. You're doing as much work at home as you were doing at work, and you need to be on bed rest. And at that time, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was frustrated with just sitting on the couch all day. And that's where I also had to implement my own mindset shift. Because the more I wanted to do more, the more my body was hurting, the more my health was deteriorating. And I had to also coach myself and say, you are doing this all wrong because you're focusing yourself on the wrong things. I was focusing on the pain, the fibroids, all the things that weren't going right with my body. I was frustrated that I couldn't work and not appreciating the good things that were happening in my life. Number one, I was about to bring a beautiful baby to this world. Number two, I wasn't dealing with the crazy at work. I was home. I could utilize this time and do, be productive in other ways. Number three, I was home and I was getting a paycheck, and I really, and number four, most importantly, my health. I had to take care of myself, so I would, in fact, bring a healthy baby to this world and carry my pregnancy full term. With that mindset shift, I really started appreciating my bed rest, and through that, I started journaling. I would always, write. It was my communication with my baby, and really another pivotal point for me was actually thinking about the many women that are going through what I'm going through. Not necessarily uterine fibroids, but other forms of pregnancy complications, and they are home, but can't even support themselves financially. I was blessed. I'm an active duty officer. I was still getting paid, like I was in the office every day, and, I had an online fitness store, but there were women that would go through this, and they would not be able to get paid. They cannot take care of their families. So I'm saying, they say the average billionaire has 7 sources of income. Okay, we don't have to be billionaires, but we need alternate sources of income as women to be able to create that flexibility in our lives, both in our homes and in our careers. Because I've seen so many women struggling through the last stages of their pregnancies, but they still get up and go to work, not because they want to, but because their life and the life of that unborn child depends on that paycheck. But it shouldn't be like that. So how do we support women through navigating through the flexibilities of life by actually creating other financial outlets, So those are some of the things that I really started, researching and wanted to help women with, and how to also deal with, pregnancy struggles, especially uterine fibroid that I was, now experiencing. And fast forward to actually having the baby, and life changed, I couldn't do a lot of the things that I used to do before baby because I had this whole human being that was my responsibility. At that time, too, my husband was he worked overseas. And, so it was really just a challenging time for a single mother in Mississippi.
Yes.
So during that time, it really was a lot of journaling. So through my struggles, I was able to navigate them. And I said, how do I help other women that are going through the struggles actually not just navigate them physically, but also mentally? And, how so they can be able to also succeed in their homes and in their careers without having to choose. And with going back to work, even when my husband came back and took a job in the U.S., it was so challenging balancing home, work, life, But how do we navigate those things? And one of the key things about work-life balance that I had to understand was that it's not stagnant. It's not a state of equilibrium. And that's what we really need to educate women, because a lot of women get frustrated because today did not go as planned, so I don't have work-life balance. That is not true. Work-life balance starts by you actually planning, having a plan, having a schedule, and all of that stuff. But you have kids. And if you have little kids like I do, they control your schedule. You don't control theirs. So when we have those templates and those schedules and those planners, they're just a template as it is for our lives. But what happens is when the day doesn't go as planned, we have those things to bounce back to because we had a plan. So but it's not for us to get frustrated and destabilize the rest of the day because one thing upsets your day. But it's saying that, okay, this didn't happen at this time. Let me reprioritize. Let me re-strategize, and let me get back to the plan. That is work-life balance, your ability to be able to be flexible. It's not about your ability to be able to work on a strict schedule and be in a box. That's not it. Because when we have that mindset that work-life balance is a stagnant state of equilibrium, it brings a lot of frustration and a lot of unfulfilled mothers out there thinking that they are bad moms and they're not doing things right.
Right, right. And I just want to thank you and commend you for creating that space, because I know your book has changed and changed many lives that have read it, that have been in, that have supported it. So tell our listeners how they can go support your book and purchase it.
Yes, so the book is available. It's on www.memoirs, with an S, of a workingmother.com. And you can get it from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or directly from the website, www.memoirsofaworkingmother.com.
So please follow and support.
Yes, the book also has lots and lots of self-care strategies. Because when I talk to women about self-care, everybody says, I don't have money to do self-care. No, not every self-care has to cost you money, okay? So it has lots of self-care things you can do that won't cost you a dime. And, the way we do self-care is we make it a part of our schedule. So one thing I do when I talk about having a template, I divide my days as, I have 9 hours of work every day, 5 hours of family time, 2 hours of self-care, and 8 hours of sleep. When I say these, people think I'm crazy. Who sleeps for 8 hours? Or a sleep is for suckers. I'm like, okay, call me sucker, but I'm winning. Because I need my rest. I cannot perform if I am not rested. So, and as I said, it doesn't mean every day I get 8 hours of sleep or that every day I get 5 hours of family time. It doesn't mean that. But that is what I aim to do on my 24-hour schedule. Because people say we need to make time. You cannot make time because time is like kinetic energy. You cannot create it. When you wake up every day, you have 24 hours. So you have to think instead about how do I better manage tasks on my schedule, not how do I make time. So I manage my schedule that way. So if I find myself spending 10, 11 hours at work, I'm already thinking that is my 2 hours of me time, or that is 2 hours I'm already taking away from my family time, or that is 2 hours I'm taking away from my sleep. So what that tells me is you need to shut this computer and go home. So you need to have those boundaries. You need to manage your task on your schedule so you can actually incorporate your self-care. What's happening is a lot of women, they plan everything. Plan the kids' schedule, the husband's schedule, loved one's schedule, work, and then they say, I don't have time left to, maybe take a break. No, that's because you did not factor you into your schedule. So you have to start out actually factoring you. Say this week, Wednesday, from 2 to 3, that is my time.
That self-care is so important. It's so important. And thank you for sharing that, Linda, because you're very passionate about self-care too. And that's so important that we make time for ourselves and that we put ourselves first, because a lot of people, especially us that do a lot of different things, we are always doing stuff for other people, but we're forgetting about ourselves. So thank you for touching on that as well.
Absolutely. I don't know if you saw you may have seen the recent Welch survey they did. The Welch Juice Company, they did this market study of working mothers, and it came that working mothers work on average 98 hours a week. Cumulatively, the stuff they do on their actual jobs and home and everything else. Can you believe that? 98 hours a week. That is straight up burnout. So we really need to peel back, we need to peel back the layers and actually figure out where we need to exert ourselves less so we can really take care of ourselves. Because what tells me about 98 hours is you're not doing any of those things at your best because you're burnt out.
Right, because if we can't, how are you going to pour to somebody else when you burn out, right?
Yeah.
So what are some strategies? Yeah. What are some strategies you would give to listeners that are not who are trying to balance self-care and still be balance everything else and be successful, be successful mom, be a successful entrepreneur, all of that. So what are some strategies you would give to that listener who's trying to balance that and trying to do better with self-care?
I would say do it. As I shared earlier, you have to be very intentional and really make that conscious decision that this has to happen. And with that, it starts by actually factoring it into your schedule. If you're somebody that actually would say this week, these are my tasks for this week. If you're a planner, when you plan, I promise you, I did this survey and I said how many people actually, it was a room of almost 500 women, and I said how many people, when they're planning their week, actually put self-care. It was about 3 people whose hands went up. You have to start by actually realizing that self-care is actually one of the to-dos and put it down on your schedule. And if you're not a planner, start planning. Because nobody's going to make it happen for you. You actually have to factor it down. And, if you have kids, you have a spouse or a significant other, you have to communicate that with them. Because it's not saying that, from 7 to 8 is my self-care. You just drop the family and everything and say, bye, this is my self-care time. You have to communicate that. So at that time, your significant other knows that they have to be with the kids. Or that time the kids understand that this is mommy's time. So it takes you first making a conscious decision to actually start factoring that time. It takes you properly and effectively communicating that with the people that actually play a role in your day-to-day life. If you're doing that, even, some days, because it would just be, I would take a break, and I don't feel like driving to go get food. A good way to really save your time and have a relaxing lunch is to package your lunch and take it to work. Whether you have an office or not, that already saves you almost 15 minutes drive to go get lunch, and then you're rushing to eat to get back to the office if you have an hour break. Some people even have 30-minute breaks. So take your lunch to work, because self-care doesn't mean that you have to do it all in a 2-hour block or a 1-hour block. You can spread it throughout the day. Imagine taking your lunch to work and you have an hour break. It's break time. You just drop it in the microwave, you warm it up, you sit in your office, or you go find someplace quiet or relaxing, and you eat. Guess what? You should probably have 30 minutes. You can meditate, read a book, call a loved one, just stuff like that. So you have to start looking for ways where you can actually better utilize your time. And a big, big part is actually packaging food and taking it to work. And I talked about self-care doesn't really have to cost money. It doesn't. Think about the things that you enjoy doing. For me, it's the beach. The beach is my happy place. I would drive to the beach and sit there and meditate, read a book, or just sit there and zen. Just sit there and be one with nature. And that is so relaxing to me. And I didn't pay to get on the beach. Think about the stuff, whether you like to sing, whether you like to dance. Think about those things, because sometimes we're so far gone in this busy lifestyle and the quest for success that we forget who we are and whose we are, as I said. Think about the things you really enjoy doing. Deep down, a lot of those things don't cost money. So write those things down. And if you want to be very, on point with your self-care, you can say, you know what, for tomorrow I would read part of this book. I may watch my favorite show, or I may sit in my room and sing and dance, or maybe go hang out with my girlfriends. Scientists actually prove that women that do brunches or weekly dates with their girlfriends are happier, more relaxed, and more productive. So I try to hang out with my girls once a month. We do brunches. So that is self-care, So you have to think about the things you really enjoy doing. Be intentional about factoring those things and start doing them. And communicate effectively with the people that actually play a role in your life, be it your family or staff or employers at work. Just make sure you communicate effectively with them. And if your self-care is, I want to travel to Greece, start saving and start saving and start planning today. Don't wait until you have a tax refund, because that never works out. zero when I get my tax refund. It never works out. Because if you don't have that tax refund money from last year today, you're definitely not going to use tax money from next year and do something. So start saving today. You know, I call it my, the self-care piggy bank. Every paycheck said this is money for me. Whether it's $10, whether it's $100, whether it's $500, whatever you make, factor out some money that would not cost you anything and keep it aside for self-care. That money will add up. That money you probably would have taken and done something with it that is probably not useful. But every paycheck, every money that comes in, if you're a business person, every profit you make, it's good to reinvest into the business. However, keep some aside to take care of yourself because you're the one running that business and you need to be filled and full so you can effectively run your business. So while not every self-care costs money, some do, depending on what you like. So if you like stuff that costs money, actually create a self-care piggy bank and start putting money aside. So you would not have that as a reason for you not have taken that vacation because I don't have money. You may not be able to take it in a month, but guess what? You may be able to take it in a year. So it really takes planning and being dedicated to saying, you know what, I matter. And I am putting myself first, and I am going to take care of myself. Because if you don't do it, don't expect anybody to do it for you.
I love that. So I hope our listeners are listening to these nuggets that Linda is sharing with us tonight. So, Linda, you are very passionate about nonprofit consulting as well, right? So what is the strategy you would give to listeners who are looking to start a nonprofit?
I would say number one, a nonprofit is a business, okay? Let me just put that out there.
Absolutely.
When I talk to the nonprofit entrepreneurs, they want to treat it as if it's a hand-me-down. No. A nonprofit is a business. It's just a different kind of business depending on how you file your paperwork with the IRS. There are people that are full-time nonprofit entrepreneurs, meaning they feed their families from their nonprofit. They're actually getting paid from their nonprofit. So number one, you have to understand or decide what kind of nonprofit entrepreneur you want to be. Some people just want to do it for, the impact that they are creating in the community. Somebody actually want to go in full-time and make that their there's nothing wrong in giving back and actually also making a living out of giving back. Because sometimes you actually need to give it your 100% to be able to get the results that you desire. Some people don't have to, and some people don't need the money. So number one, your nonprofit is a business. And, we have the Nonprofit Institute where we work with nonprofit entrepreneurs. Some have already started nonprofits and they are stuck. And some are thinking about starting nonprofits and joining this nonprofit entrepreneur journey. And we would take your bright idea and actually work with you to transform that into a fully registered and functional 501c3. So how do we do that? I'm one of those consultants. I don't work with everybody. And not that not everybody is a client, but not everybody is a client for me. So you may be a client for somebody else. And I also say not everybody is coachable by me. So I can't break through to everybody. So I'm very good with referring people, or sometimes I say, I don't know where to send you to. Sorry. Because, some people. But for me, it's all about the impact, because a lot of people are excited about the idea of being into the humanitarian world. And my one question is, what impact are you making? What is the transformation? What is the experience? What are the lives you are changing, or communities you are making a difference in? And what exactly is that difference? If you as a nonprofit entrepreneur can answer those questions, you're already on your way to success. Because a lot of people would say, because what was your turning point? My turning point, I'll take my story. Somebody would say my turning point was, I saw women were not getting along and this and that. And I said, what do you want to do about that? What is the result? Because a lot of times people focus on the cause and not the impact, not the transformation. So we really help nonprofit entrepreneurs identify what impact they are making in the community and what lives they are transforming and the how. And because how is this important? Not everybody that has a nonprofit is successful, because in order to run a nonprofit, you need money. A lot of money from nonprofits, unless you want to fund it yourself, which somebody do. But if you want to deal with sponsors and funders, you need to be creating transformations. You need to be creating impact, because a lot of that is what they are giving you money for, the transformations that you're creating. So it's so important that you understand what transformations you're creating. And if you don't and you have an idea, we can take that idea and actually map it to a transformation. And then, because it's one thing to start a nonprofit and it's another thing to sustain it. How do we create sustainable programs so we can continue tying it with the mission of the organization? And how do we attract the right funders to come and support this program? Another key part is your board of directors. What I see a mistake a lot of nonprofit entrepreneurs do. I created a nonprofit, okay? And who's in your board? My mom, my dad, my sister, my best friend, okay? What impact or resources have they brought in? And then it's cricket. So as a nonprofit entrepreneur, it is so important that you have a functioning board of directors. Your board of directors, their job is to work for the nonprofit. They should be the frontliners out there getting you funding. They should be the frontliners out there advocating and running, programs for your charity. So you are not out there doing it on your own. I can't tell the number of times I've told my nonprofit entrepreneurs to say, fire your entire board. And another way to really get a committed board is to find people that are willing to actually pay up front. So it doesn't have to be depending on your nonprofit. I always charge board members, saying this is a commitment to be on the board, because board members are really the backbone of getting in funding to the organization as well. So one of the commitments is actually give your board members a levy to pay to be on the board, and state really clear directions and guidelines on what it means to be a board member, what the expectations are, so they get that upfront coming in. Not everybody deserves to be on your board. And by making that upfront commitment to the charity, that already shows, that upfront financial commitment, that already shows that they are really there to work for you. So stop getting your best friends and BAFs to be on the board and actually start getting people that are willing to come in and work for your nonprofit. And, and be familiar with your state guidelines. It varies from state to state, your funding guidelines, because fundraiser laws and regulations also vary from state to state. And if you're a nonprofit, make sure you have a 501c3, because a lot of people would not give you a big check if you cannot give them a W-9. So a W-9, that's the form that nonprofits give to sponsors and funders, so they can use that and claim their tax deduction. So if you're just registered and you have actually not gone after your 501c, you're losing out. You're losing out on money. You're losing out on actually making sustainable change, because there's so many grants you would not qualify for, so many benefits in terms of when you're doing events. A lot of halls will give you nonprofit discounts, but they don't give you that unless you have your 501c. So that's also one of the mistakes I see a lot of people do. I have a nonprofit. Okay. What's your EIN number? You have a 501c. Now. And then have bylaws. You got to have your bylaws. You have to have your articles of incorporation, because those are the things that actually guide your organization. And, those are all the things that we actually we help put together. And just like a business, have a marketing and branding plan. Because, treat it like a business. That's why I started with that. Everything you would do with a startup business, you need to do those with a nonprofit and more. Because nonprofit have so many legal guidelines that a regular business actually doesn't have. And if you want to take money from your nonprofit to pay yourself, good and fine. But you also have to make sure that is disclosed when you file your paperwork with the IRS. The reason you see a lot of nonprofit entrepreneurs going to jail or getting fined and getting into trouble is, it sounds so good to say 100% of your donations will go to the charity. When you say that, you best be sure that 100% of donations are going to charity. You're not saying, oh, we bought pens and pencils and we bought lunch. No. So when you file your paperwork, you have that option to say that. They would ask you, the IRS asks you, they say, will you pay yourself, from the nonprofit? It's a simple yes if you plan on actually being employed by your charity. But please don't say no and then go out there and you're paying yourself or use a nonprofit funding to run administrative operations of your charity. You're actually creating fraud. So it's all about input, output. What you put in your application, that's what you should be executing out there. So if you want to say 100% goes to charity, because funders actually love when you say that, because they know, what, nobody, If you want to say that, please make sure you're actually doing that. And one thing that a lot of nonprofits don't know is Giving Tuesday. Giving Tuesday, that's December 5th. Giving Tuesday, Facebook actually matches donations for charities that are actual 501c charities and registers for Facebook giving. It's some paperwork you have to fill and actually get registered through GuideStar. And GuideStar is something that, I can talk about that as well, but that's story for another day. But if you're a nonprofit and you don't know about GuideStar, you definitely need to contact me. But Giving Tuesday is so important, December 5th. And you don't wait till December 5th before you start preparing for Giving Tuesday. If you haven't started, you need to start now because you're losing out on money.
Amazing nuggets that Linda is sharing. So definitely, if you're thinking about doing a nonprofit, please make sure you are a 501c3 as well, and definitely take all of this knowledge that she has shared with you all because it is a business. I have one myself. So, Linda, how did you create your seat at the table? I asked all of my guests the same question because I know you have built multiple tables. So how did you create your seat at the table?
For me, I really always believe that I have what it takes. And I set goals and I go hard for those goals. And I'm not saying I've always succeeded in everything that I have done, but I've always put my best foot forward. And when I walk into every room, I make sure I'm not only, in the room, but I have what it takes. If there's a table and there's one person on that table, my attitude walking in is, if there's going to be one person on that table, it's going to be me because I have what it takes. And with that comes, you have to come right because you have to make sure you know your stuff. You have to make sure you've done your market research. You have to make sure you're placing yourself competitively in that market space. So when you come in, you're not necessarily advocating for yourself, but your reputation has gone before you. So every room that I walk into, I make sure that my reputation has gone before me. And when I come in, I'm coming in and commanding that presence that, you know what, I have what it takes. Whether it's starting a new business, whether it's launching a new curriculum, whether it's writing a book, I have lived the story. I've experienced it. I have the certifications to back it up. I have life experiences to back it up. I have client reviews to back it up. So my credentials speak for themselves. And so with that, you're not constantly fighting to say, I need to sit on the table, but you start realizing that when there's a table, people start opening a seat for you. So you just walk in and sit down. But it takes making sure that you're positioning yourself, you're positioning yourself to be what the market is looking for. It takes being current. It takes doing your research. It takes, really making sure, as I said, you're really competitive in that market space. So you don't necessarily have to say, I need to sit on this table. But people are saying, you know what, that's your sit.
Awesome. And she has continually and consistently created her seat at the table on a daily basis. Linda Arrey is definitely somebody to know, somebody to connect with. So I just want to commend you, Linda, for all the great things that you're doing. So, and we all, you're welcome. We have a, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ashley.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was saying that, I know. I was saying you as well, you're doing amazing things, and just creating this platform and making people come share how they got their seat on the table. That is so amazing, because you, my friend, is somebody that has earned her seat on table in every room that you walk in. So I wanted to put that out there.
Thank you so much, Brenda. And I'm just, blessed to be connected with you as well, because you are not only creating your own seat at the table, but you're bringing people with you as well, and you're creating other spaces for other people at the table. So it's just a blessing to be connected with you.
Yeah, that's important that we all do that. Thank you.
You are welcome. So I know we all have a process on our journey, right? And failure is part of the process. So what did failure teach you?
Oh my God. As I said, I started my first business when I was 21. And that thing where you feel like, oh my God, I'm going to start a business and clients are going to come running, and you start a business and there's nobody at the door. So I've been there. I've done that. So for me, early on, it's disappointing, because I really thought, why is this person not supporting me? And that's why I say a lot of the things that I say, I've experienced it. When I tell people don't worry about who is not supporting you, that's because I was there. I was that person, and I know how that inhibited my progress. But yeah, I've been there where you start something new and you don't get the support from the people that you thought you were going to get support for. But what that did was actually I was using my energy in something that was not resourceful, worrying about who wasn't supporting me, instead of redirecting my energy on what I did wrong and how I can pick up the pieces, re-strategize, and keep going. So one example was my online fitness store. I love working out, and I said, who better to open an online fitness store than myself? And that was also during the time where I was home on bed rest, and it was the perfect time. But I didn't research that market enough. So a lot of the vendors that I partnered with were straight out of China, and we launched beautiful website, everything. Facebook page went viral. I think in 3 days we had almost the first day we had like 900. And by the time, it was like 3 days, and we were almost at like 4,000 people. By the time I closed down that store, we had about we had about 20,000 people Facebook Lives, right? But what happened was people were doing all of that based on the email, the pictures, the stock pictures we were sharing and stuff like that. And that's what I was basing my thoughts too. We had really good garments and stuff like that until the first order arrived. And I was like, what did I get myself into? The products were straight out of China, and a lot of them I could not even wear. They were first undersized for a regular American person, a size small, a large was like a small, and a lot of them you could tell, oh my God, I just got robbed, because this picture is not, they try to replicate the pictures, but they didn't own those original images. What they did, they would steal pictures from actual fitness stores put it on a green background, retake the picture and change the background and try to make it theirs. They didn't really own those products. But what they did, the seamstresses and tailors would go around and try to recreate that product, and they would sell it now and outsource it as theirs. But when they did the actual stock images, because when you partner with those vendors, they would send you stock images for your website. Until you get the product, then you can take your own pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they did that, a lot of people. But for me, I could not sign my name behind those products. So they sold, but I realized I wasn't having repeated customers. And I knew why, because the quality wasn't good. And what that said to me was, if I am not even proud about this product, that's my integrity on the line there for a one-time order where I would not get a repeated client. I had to ask myself and do my own self-check. Would I buy this product? And it was no. Would I wear this product? It was absolutely no. You know, 1 or 2 days were good, and we actually used the 1 or 2 days and did a whole photo shoot and redid the website, and the goal was we would focus only on this 1 to 2 days. But no, people wanted variety, people wanted stuff, and the quality didn't just speak for itself. So that was, you know, one part in business that I failed, because I really felt bad to do research and research the vendors. So with that, I shut down the store, and everything that we had, we just liquidated and gave it out. We did sales and did stuff, and some of them we just gave it out. But then I reached out to a friend, and that's something I would have done earlier, because she had a store. It wasn't a fitness store, but she sold women apparel, and I've shopped from her, and I really loved her stuff. And just to redirect a little bit, this was a lesson learned for me as a business owner, because we have a lot of people that have already been to where we're trying to be, but we keep trying to recreate the wheel. Maybe it's our ego is too big, or maybe, you know, we just want to prove that we can do it on our own. But I'm saying, don't waste your time, don't waste your money, and end up with products like the products that I got. When you have somebody that has already done it, whether it's a friend or it's a coach or a consultant, you know, often you have to invest money and time in order to be successful in business. So you can do all the work and go start from scratch and start trying to recreate the wheel and do the research on your own, or you can pick up the phone like I did and call somebody that has been there. And, you know, she was nice and gave me everything that I needed to relaunch the business at another time. Even invited me to Vegas for a vendors conference. These were real vendors. You see the fabric. You see catalogs and stuff like that. This is stuff I had no idea, I didn't know about. But she opened that door for me. And so there's always somebody you can reach out to. And I know we live in a world now where mentoring costs money. But there are still some mentors that will do it for free. And even if it's not free, because not every free stuff is good, guys. Even if it's not free, don't be hesitant to invest in a coach that has actually done what you're trying to do. I always say this, when you invest in good coaching, it actually increases, not only, you know, it increases your integrity, it increases your reputation, and it also increases your output. So people need to stop being hesitant to invest in coaches. You know, I say, how do you expect to sow a seed, and when it comes time for harvest, you pull up with a truck? You just sowed one seed. You cannot expect to come now with an 18-wheeler truck to harvest. So when you set those goals and say, I want to do a 10K month and a 20K month, are you doing an investment that matches that 10K and 20K month? Because when we're timid with our investments, we should expect a timid harvest. So just back to failure, you know, that was my failing point in business. And I am glad I was able to understand where I failed and actually do things differently if I go down that route again. I've things not done, open another store, but if I chose to do that again, I know to research my vendors and actually have somebody I can call.
Amazing, amazing. So, how can our listeners follow you on all social media platforms, Linda? How can they follow you and support you?
So, Facebook is just Linda Arrey, Linda, and then Arrey. My business page is Linda Arrey Global LLC. IG is Linda_Arrey. And then you can follow, I have a whole Working Mothers platform named after, so my daughter chose to join us, named after, it's Memoirs of a Working Mother. And then my charity, Women in Leadership, Development and Empowerment, we actually host the Women's Wellness and Business Conference, okay? Wellness and Business. So you can follow us on IG. It's WILDE, WILDE_INC. And the Women's Wellness and Business Conference, really, it's a platform where we really bring women together, okay, to hone on 4 pillars: mental, physical, spiritual, and financial wellness. So the conference starts with a wellness piece where we really talk about the mental, the physical, the spiritual, because I don't believe in empowering broken women and teaching broken women how to make money. I need you whole, sister. I need you in your best. So how can we dive into that, what's going on with your mind, your body, your soul? So when we start talking about the business, the legal parts, and all of that stuff, we have poured into you, and you are so fulfilled that you're ready to go out there and actually just perform at your best. So that's the structure of the conference. Really, one thing we're kicking off this year following the conference is our Give Mama Break Day. And it ties into 2 perspectives. It ties into our mental health platform and our self-care platform. So Give Mama Break Day is one day. The women that will be selected to participate in this program, for one day, we're telling them to leave everything and let's take care of you. No cuts, no strings attached. Whether you need daycare, we'll take care of the kids if you can leave them home with somebody. But we need you to just come. Don't think about anything. We're going to send these women to the spa. We're going to send them on relaxing activities. And then we're going to congregate that evening and just pour into these women emotionally, inspiring messages, motivational messages over a really good 3-course dinner. And it goes back to finding ways to say no to burnout. And I do understand one day is not enough. Do self-care for one day, it's not enough. But what this Give Mama Break Day is doing, it is setting precedents and actually teaching women how to actually do self-care. So our goal is the women that participate would actually learn the strategies to actually implement self-care in their lives. And just by participating in that one day, they're going to go back home feeling rejuvenated. They're going to learn how to build better relationships with themselves and with other people, and also be more productive at home and at work.
So please make sure you follow and support Linda with all the great things that she has going on, and get involved and connect with her, because she is doing some amazing things. And definitely support her amazing conferences that are coming up as well. So, Linda, I would like to thank you for coming to the table today and taking time out of your very busy schedule. And I cannot wait to invite you back.
Awesome. I will be glad to come back, and hopefully we would see you in Delaware March 14 for the conference, Ashley.
Yes, we will. We will. And I look forward to continuing to collaborate and connect with you as well.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. And thanks for putting this together. I know you are changing lives by doing this, not just the speakers you bring on, but also your audience. So thank you.
Yes, you are welcome, because I believe that we all can win. We all can win. Yes.
Awesome. I believe that too. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you. So I would like to give a special thanks to Tammy Collins Marquis and John Schamberger. I would also like to give a special thanks to Kimberly McLemore and to my intern, Sarah from Tennessee State University. You all may follow me on Facebook at Ashley Little and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.